Hey everybody, and welcome to my comparison video where I'll be taking a look at the two versions I've got here of Tikal. This one, which is going to be on your left, is going to be the original Rio Grande Games printing of the game. This one, the newer printing from Super Meeple that has come out in French only so far. So, we're taking a look at the boards, and I'll be comparing and telling you kind of what I think about them as I go over the different components and the things that make up the entire game. Besides what I'm showing you here, the boxes are also considerably different. The newer one has a square, typical square box, think Ticket to Ride size box, whereas the original was a flatter, elongated rectangle. I like the original printing when it comes to the box size because I just enjoy that size a little more. It's easier to stack and store. And it does give me one problem, which let's cut to the boards for that. I like the printing on the boards about the same. The original printing here from Rio Grande is a little more crisp and a little brighter, but a little more cartoony as well, whereas the new one looks a little more serious. But it's also slightly fuzzier, it looks to me. To my eyes, it looks a little bit less defined, maybe. Kind of like a picture seen through a little haze, perhaps. Both are very attractive, though, and do work well. The realism on the new one is very nice. The thing I don't like about the new square box is that this board is quite large, which means for the original, they could do a quad fold board, folds in 4. The new one has to fold in 6. Which makes it a little ganglier than I'd like. You know, it's a little too floppy, perhaps, and folding the board in 6 parts, I'm not a huge fan of that. But that's it for the boards. Here we have a couple of the tiles that are going to make up the board, of course, the original printing and the new one. The backs, I have to say, I do like the original ones a little bit more. They just pop, or a little, the details a little easier to see. But the fronts, I do like the new ones slightly better. So as you can see here, these two are the same tile, of course, with the 4 treasures there found in the center of the board of the Discovery. I like the way this one looks a little more. I also like the foliage on this a little bit more. And then this one over here shows us what a temple would look like. That's the original. This is the new printing. I like the new one in this case as well. I know the red pops a little bit more clearly, perhaps, but I like the look of this. It blends into what's happening and gives the theme a little more ambiance, perhaps. So for me, the tiles in the new one are a little bit better, slightly larger, and the artwork just seems like a better fit overall. Here we have some more of the components, and across the board, I like the newer components better than the original ones. These are your camps. They look about the same, but then your explorers in the original printing were just cylinders. The smaller ones that you have plenty of, and then one main explorer, the large explorer. They are now, of course, meeples, and very distinct between the larger one and the smaller one. You have your scoring marker, just a standard wooden cube, that's fine. And then the treasures. This is the back of the treasures here. The new ones, as you can see, are slightly larger discs. I like that. And then the fronts, I also like the newer ones better because they have not just an image in the center, but a background color that's also different. Whereas in the original one, the backgrounds were all the same and the illustration changed. And some of them were just didn't pop as much as some of the other ones. For example, one of them was supposed to be sort of a golden ring, perhaps a necklace, and it just kind of looks like a frame around the disc itself and almost like the image is missing in the middle. But that's what it's supposed to be. It's just that golden necklace. So I like the new ones a little bit better, and they have all sorts of different things. And again, the illustrations are larger, and the backgrounds are slightly different as well. I just enjoy that look way better. Here we have the player aids, and they're about the same for me, though I do like the newer one because it's a little more legible. It's a little brighter, easier to understand, and just larger. They have also both of them on the other side. They show you how the game works with the bidding variant, but again, pretty much the exact same information. And then above that, you have here the token you use when you are doing that bidding variant to let the other players know you are still in the game. Or if you're out, you've already won one of the bids and placed your tile taking your turn. Once you are done, you flip it over. to let the other players know these are fine, they're functional, they're a little bit smaller. This one is quite much more attractive. The detailed image is very nice. And then on the back also it has that illustration with the bidding gavel there, which I find to be a nice touch. Just to remind everyone what's going on. And they just pop a little bit more on the table. So one of these per player color and one of these per player as well. Again, the new printing here wins it for me. And then lastly, the real show stealer here are the temples themselves. This over here is a temple built up all the way to the 10th level from the original Rio Grande printing. This is one built all the way up to the same level in the new Super Meeple printing. And as you can see, the original one had cardboard tokens here and only 3 sizes. So the 10 and the 9 below that were all the same size. Then level 8, 7, and 6 are all the same size, and then below that 5, 4, and 3, and then 2 and 1 would have been printed on the board. In the new one here, you have these nice plastic bits that are going to stack like that, each one being a different size, each one stacking on the one below it for a very pleasing look on the board. Very nice. Now, sometimes all the pieces don't quite match up as well as you'd like. That is possible. You're going to get a slightly wonky match between one level and the next. But for the most part, the pieces do behave, and they certainly look fantastic on the board. And again, add to that overall pleasing look that goes hand in hand with the backs of the tiles, with the spaces pre-printed on the board, and the temples that appear on the tiles themselves, those level 1s or higher later on in the game. So there you go. Obviously, this one goes to the new printing from Super Meeple. Overall, I thought the original version was a fantastic game, and it's a very well-made version, but this new one certainly shows some improvements that I think are going to make the game simply appear much more eye-pleasing on your table. Be aware, if you are pursuing this version and you are an English speaker, as I said, the rules in the game will come only in French, so you will need to find yourself some English rules to play. But the games are virtually identical. There is a tiny rule difference, which is when you are going to play out a camp, meaning one of these, you have to make sure that one of your characters is present on that tile for you to deploy that camp. The original English rules did not mention anyone needing to be there, but indeed, someone does need to be there. That's it. Otherwise, they are identical. So go out there and find yourself a copy of this new printing and check out this classic Euro game. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.